Hello, everybody, and welcome to another music review, which we've picked randomly. So you should know that today we are going to be reviewing the album called Namida, which is by a Japanese rock group called KANA-BOON. Now, as I picked this group, I will go ahead now and go first and tell you what I thought of it. So, as a lot of you will know, if you watch our videos, I am the negative one, generally, and that trend continues today because I did not like this album at all. I hated it. Well, I hated certain songs, and I just really did not enjoy this album, basically. Be interested to see what Brett thinks about it very shortly, to see if he can pull some positivity in like he usually does. So we'll obviously go through each song individually a little bit later on, but in general, I found the album a little bit there was too much noise going on, too rocky. I found it very intense. The songs got going right from the beginning. The instruments were already banging away right from the off. I like it when a song kind of builds up, I suppose you could say. Whereas this was just straight away, really intense, almost every song, and just kind of non-stop. It was really coming at you. I mean, some people might like that. I personally don't. I would also say, even though it's kind of quite rocky, I'd still say it's more for kind of teenagers or people in their 20s. I can't imagine older people liking this, probably based on the way they sing, or some of the songs were even kind of a bit cheesy in a way, but with the kind of rock element to it as well. I don't know what they were singing about because I think it was mainly in Japanese, but I don't know, the names of these songs, Bye Bye Hello, they were singing that as the chorus. Yeah, I really didn't like it at all. Brett, over to you.
Yeah, that's actually quite a good comprehensive review there of the album, Lee. I will still try and keep the positivity where possible, but I will be honest, this was a difficult album to listen to. It's interesting because it is meant to be sort of rock pop, but I did feel there was either some songs which went a little bit more towards the pop side, but still pop rock, and then others where it went a little bit more to the rock side. It's weird. It didn't feel quite right. I can't quite explain it. I put a little note about, especially some song where the voices didn't actually sort of match the music. And normally I don't get put off by sort of people's I think that's the way it should be. But for this, it just didn't seem to work and made it more difficult to listen to. And yeah, as you say, it seems to be. I think what I'm trying to say is, it feels like it's trying to be as rocky as it can be, but also poppy at the same time as well. And I think maybe the point you made, which I quite like, where maybe for a younger generation that's, wants to be into rock music, but it's so hard to explain. Like I said, I feel like it's trying to be rock music, but I think people who are a fan of rock music wouldn't be a fan of it, if that kind of makes sense. But again, I could be wrong. Someone might come on here and go, as a rock fan, actually, I really like it. But that's just how I perceived it from there. However, there were a couple of songs which didn't feel so hardcore as rocky. Like I said, a little bit more poppy, which were a little bit more listenable. But like I said, overall, it was a more difficult listen to, and quite funny in some ways as well.
Yeah, it's like almost I couldn't take it seriously, like as a proper. They weren't like a proper rock group, were they? I think, as you say, because their voices didn't really match. Maybe almost like a kind of pop group trying to go rock, maybe you could say.
Kind of, yeah, that's it. And I said that might be quite harsh, and we don't really know, but that just, like I said, my thoughts on how I felt it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're not really. Well, I'm not anyway. I'm not familiar with the Japanese music scene, so I don't know sort of how popular they are, or what is kind of Japanese rock music. I don't know. Maybe this is the norm, but
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, well, let's go through the songs individually. Brett, you didn't mention, were there any songs that you actually liked? I suppose you did say there were a few that were.
There's a couple which were,
okay.
again, yeah, slightly better as a whole on the album, but yeah, that's sort of clutching the straws really in some ways.
Okay, so first three songs, I'm going to just quickly put them together. Distraction Beat Music, the first song, I put Rocky, dislike. Then Ningen Sabaku, I put very rocky start, rubbish. And then Fighter, horrible rocky start. So if I can just put those three together for a moment. So I listened to those three songs and then stopped and then listened to the next three the following day. And after those first three songs, I thought, what am I listening to? This is dreadful. Things got a little bit better after that, which I'll talk about shortly. But yeah, I really disliked those first three songs, probably more than any others on the album. Just too intense, too much. I don't know. I just didn't like it, any of those at all. Brett, anything you want to say about any of those songs?
No, again, pretty much I would almost put those same three songs in the same category. They all seemed very similar. And yeah, just, I said, really intense. And then I said, I don't mean disrespectful, but then when the voices came in, it just, again, didn't, and just made it even more awkward to sort of listen to. The only difference I'll probably say with the last song on that first three, the Fighter one, where it's all in Japanese, right? And then you have the Fighter bit, which is all in English, some saying Fighter, which something wrong with that, but again, it just, don't know where that sort of came from and what that was all about. But there was some good instrumental bits at times, I think. And oh no, that's what I said. It's it kind of reminds me. I can really imagine in certain Japanese anime cartoons.
Yeah,
would fit in quite well with that.
Yeah, I did look at that. They've got a Wikipedia page, and some of their songs. I'm not saying from this album. I'm not sure, but some of their songs they do feature on animes cartoons. I think that's probably quite a common thing with a lot of Japanese music, that they've got so many animes, so they need music for it. Yeah. Next one, as I said, I listened to the next three the following day. Way Back, No Way Back. I put much better start, easier to listen to, but it's still not my style, and it did get a little bit too rocky in terms of the instrumental a little bit later on in the song. So a bit better, but still didn't like it.
Yeah, same again. It's a bit more listenable, and again, it's all Japanese, and then you just have that Way Back, No Way Back in English. And I say that's where I think there was a bit of instrumentals quite all right, but yeah, I said just in comparison to the others, it was better.
Okay. Then we had Bye Bye Hello. I put better than the first three I mentioned earlier, but still not good. This is probably on a par with Way Back, No Way Back, kind of similar.
Yeah, very similar. That's exactly what I put there. Very similar. I think I slightly preferred maybe Bye Bye Hello, but again, more in a comical way, really. Like in comparison to what the first three tracks were, just sort of took it more as being like a parody band of some sort. But yeah, and that's what I said. It slightly again, it felt like it was getting a bit more poppy as well. And then this is when it was interesting because I said about the voices, I found them didn't quite fit, quite matched. And then with this one particularly, it's like, oh, it really does sound like a female's voice. And when I looked at the band, obviously there's three of them, three males, but it turns out there was a female guitarist or bassist that they had in the band. Now, whether she's singing on some of these songs as well, which, because if it's a woman's voice, then actually it kind of matches what they're trying to do, I guess. But yeah, that's what I found from that one.
Yeah, that's right. There was a female that came into it. So it was that song, was it? Yeah. So I thought, okay.
I don't know if that for definite, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
If she was in that one.
Okay. Then we had Namida, which is the name of the album. I put poor, but at least not too heavy on the ears. So yeah, I just didn't like it.
Yeah, yeah, I said it's slightly a little bit more enjoyable. Again, probably still really comparing to those first few tracks generally. And it was interesting. Obviously, this one had no English at all, but yet it was still probably one I was enjoying, even though there was no English with that.
Okay. Then we had Wake Up. Just put poor song. Don't know. I just didn't like it.
Yeah, I think the words up a bit repetitive. And at that point, I kind of wish maybe this was in English, and maybe my appreciate, might enjoy it more if the voice was different or was in English. But yeah.
Okay. Then we had Ride On Natsu. I put here cheesy pop rock, catchy chorus, rocky instrumental. I mean, this one I guess wasn't as bad as some of the others. I don't know. Just this is where I kind of thought it's getting a little bit cheesy now. It's almost like I don't know. It's just I just didn't like. I didn't like the combination, like with this rock and this kind of pop style. It didn't really work.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So like it just seemed too. I don't know what they were trying to do, but I agree with you. I think this was my sort of favourite at this point so far. But like I said, yeah, it seemed more comical, but more poppy. Like I said, totally. And I know we like to praise, bands who do different styles on albums. They do different, but with this, I don't know. It just seems a bit too one extreme to another, maybe. But I was intrigued about Natsu, what that was about. And apparently, speaking about Japanese anime, there's a character in something called Fairy Tail, Tail spelled Tail, and this person is a dragon slayer called Natsu Dragnell. Whether this song was actually about him, I don't know. But when you put Natsu, it's the only thing that comes up for pages and pages. You have to go quite far before you see Natsu could also be referred to a Japanese gin in a drink called Roku.
Okay.
It's the name of a Japanese cocktail, and it has a Japanese gin in there called Roku, and that drink's sometimes called Natsu. But like I said, that seems really far down, so it seems to be more about this dragon slayer in a Fairy Tail.
Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, that would make sense. Then we had Last Number. I put down again cheesy pop rock, similar to previous, so similar to Ride On Natsu. I found those two songs quite similar.
Yeah, I put the sort of same there. So I could imagine that particular song being played in clubs. So again, if it was like an English version of it, being quite popular in clubs, really, in the pop side of things.
Yeah. Then we had Baton Road. I put down constant intensive singing, except for an instrumental part at the 3-minute mark. So when it got to 3 minutes, the singing stopped for a short time for this instrumental. So it was just really intense. Just like it was really. I can't remember who it was, a he or she, but really singing right from the off and just going at it really hard.
Yeah, again, I think words there again put a bit repetitive. Yeah, I just didn't like this one as much as the others at all. But yeah, just definitely felt a bit repetitive, a bit too much.
Okay, then we had Ichiban Hoshi. I put one of the better songs, but the chorus was too loud for me. Like they don't like those loud choruses where they really go for it. I don't know, but it was all right compared to the others.
Yeah, again, I think it's quite similar to Bye Bye Hello. Again, more on the poppy side of things, but it did have potential, but yeah, still a tough listen to.
Okay, and the last one, which is the most difficult to pronounce, Soredemo Bakura wa Negate Iruyo. I just put down.
Or in English, if it's easier, I've found out it translates to what did I put here? Oh, I did. Oh, maybe I didn't write it down. I did find out what it was in English. I'll try and find what that was. That's embarrassing.
I just put down. I'm done. Like I was just wanted to get out of there, finish listening to it. Just didn't like that song. Didn't have any notes to make about it. No, just rubbish basically.
Yeah, again, I didn't mind it. And again, it made more potential for games. There was a bit of more to it in English and stuff. But again, I think at this point in the album, I agree with you. I think it being quite a roller coaster of an album. And it maybe if it had been at start or been somewhere different, maybe moving forward at this point, yeah, it's okay, but nothing amazing.
Okay. So yeah, I guess there's probably not much more to say about that album. I suppose if I was summarizing, I would just say, yeah, too rocky for me, but it wasn't proper rock. It was still like, it was, pop music trying to be rock music and making very loud noises, but just don't know, the mix, the right combination wasn't there, and just didn't like it.
Yeah, no, and as I said, we don't know what Japanese rock is all about. Like I said, this could be what Japanese rock is all about. Not that I think that would change the way you feel about it, because we know I'm not a fan of rock music. But yeah, like I said, for me, as I said, I just felt a little bit confusing, just didn't feel quite right. And I did take some positives and did enjoy a couple of songs, but I think maybe if those songs maybe the style may have been a bit different, but I think that style just was, threw us off a little bit.
You said that you enjoyed some of the songs, so that brings me on to the next point. I want to just quickly tell our viewers about something that we've got going, where we add songs that we like from every album we listen to. We add them to a playlist, which I'm going to quickly just show here if I share the screen. Okie. So this is our channel page, and if you go to playlists, you'll be able to see here 2 different playlists, one with Brett's songs, which contains 14 songs, and one with Lee's songs, which only contains 3. That's because I don't like most of the songs that we've been listening to so far. So yeah, you can go ahead and listen to the songs that we've enjoyed. So if you go to Brett's songs, if you view the playlist, all of the songs that he has enjoyed are there. So we will keep adding to them.
You've listened to Rubber Koch there.
Well, I like that song a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure you check that out, and on a regular basis, because we're always adding to it. Well, Brett's adding to it. I'm not, but so that leads on to our next question. Are you going to be adding any songs onto the playlist?
I generally quite like to always at least get one momentum from each album on my playlist. That's generally why I think I've got more on my list, because generally we'll find at least one song on there I like, and I would like his little momentum there. If I was going to pick one from this album, it'd probably be the Ride On Natsu one.
Right.
But would I, if I was listening to a playlist and it came on, would I just skip that particular song?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. You got to decide. That's when you don't want it on there. Don't put it on there for the sake of it. Only put it on if you actually like it.
But like I said, I did quite like it. But would it be enough, like with other good songs I've got on my playlist, enough for it to skip past? So maybe on this one occasion, I think I might not take momentum from this one. But if it was going to be one, it'd be that Ride On Natsu. And because I've still got it on my webpage here, so that last song in translation is Still We Hope. Which I think is quite a nice way to finish that particular album.
Okay then. Well, I think that's all from this album review today. So thank you for watching, and we will see you on Wednesday for the next selection that we make, which will be Brett's turn. So we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Goodbye.